So 24, Tom Kristensen, Gregor Fisken.
This is a crucial stop then. He'll have a charge after this, and he'll have basically half the race to try and catch the leaders. Tom Kristensen's got a lot of work to do in this race.
Here at Goodwood for the 2017 edition of the Revival, and I'm racing this wonderful Jaguar E-Type with 9-time Le Mans winner Tom Kristensen.
Morning, how are you?
I met Tom earlier today. He's Mr. Goodwood, really. I mean, he seems to be able to drop into anything and drive well. We've gone through the car, we've gone through a few little things we can make him more comfortable in the car. There's a bit of a difference in our height, but yeah, all standard stuff.
In the assembly area, things beginning to get serious. We've got drivers aboard, some of them ready, just as we get going for the time practice then for the Kinrara Trophy.
We all got down here on Thursday. We've had a few dramas getting the car ready. We came and tested it here a few weeks ago. We had an engine failure. We really hope that we're not only going to finish, but we really want to do well. You know, it's very competitive. I've been blessed to have Tom, and he won here last year, so there's a bit of pressure, a bit of expectation.
Of the circuit, looking at the big screens, you see the first car round, which is the number 33 Kinrara E-Type, and it seems slightly drier on the St Mary's part of the track. It's still very greasy. You can see as the tail swings out, as that E-Type drops into the compression. Again, as it approaches Lamberts, it's kicking up a little bit of spray.
We were running in a good position when I was qualifying, but as the track was drying out, we got Tom in it.
Yeah, what we start to look for is green on the screen, which means improvement. Kristensen has just suddenly moved the 24 up to the 24 E-Type up to 7th place, so he's starting to make his mark, and then immediately gets toppled again by Rob Huff in the 16 E-Type.
Red flag by the looks of things, just to clear up the car at the back. That's Decad, isn't it?
There's so much oil now everywhere.
Right, okay. Quite easy to drive though?
Yeah, very slippery now.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't go on the power.
No, it's like ice racing.
But I used third at 11 still.
Yeah, me too.
Very.
But the water
gearbox very good.
It's easy, isn't it?
Brakes okay, but it's oil. I was locking up a little bit.
I find the heel and toe is not super easy, but
no,
you've really got to kind of get your foot over.
Sure, because it's to get a few more laps.
Yeah, you will. You've got another 8 minutes. But it's it's a spit of rain coming down now. Yeah, if you're greedy on the throttle, it's sideways immediately.
Yeah.
Signal being given.
And the good news from St Mary's end of the circuit, its jacket's back off again. That was a brief flurry, and it's brightening up.
Alan Decad might have done everyone a favour then if he goes off, calls a red flag, just wins a quick shout, and then it clears, and then go back out on a drying track again.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we go.
Yes, the track is certainly a little bit dry, but it's going to take some of these drivers a lap or two just to gauge how much dry.
Tom Kristensen set a fastest first sector of all, so first flying lap for the 9-time Le Mans winner, and that number 24 car is currently 8.
Kristensen absolutely flying. And now Rob Huff has set the fastest middle sector, so look out too for the 60 E-Type.
Kristensen 1:48.341. That's pretty impressive to go out and find the grip that quickly.
Hats off to Kristensen. How many times have we said that? Number 60. That goes second, 1:49.232, but it's still nearly 9/10 of a second down. So he's got to go faster still to catch the 24 Fisken Kristensen E-Type that tops the charts at the moment. What track is getting drier? Tom Kristensen's going around the outside there. I don't think that'll lead to an improvement, but he holds sway at the moment. But will Rob Huff manage it on his final lap? He set his fastest first sector of the 3 into the end of the pit wall there, keeps it in the straight line, but the person who's going best of all could yet take pole from the 24 E-Type. That is Farsit when it takes the checkered flag. But fastest middle sector of all for Rob Huff into number 60 could yet topple 7-time Le Mans winner.
Good, he comes across the line. He's done it a 1:48.236. Absolutely brilliant. So Rob Huff goes quickest in number 60, knocks Tom Kristensen off pole.
He did a great lap time, but Rob Huff just pipped him by, I think, was it a 10th? 10th of a second.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. It's a long race. It's always good to get, to be further towards the front. It's nice to be at the front, particularly if it's going to be wet, because, with a lot of spray, a lot of traffic, the further back you are, the tougher the first few laps. So it's good to get some nice clear air at the front of the screen. Well done, Tom.
Yeah, how were we?
You were just pipped. Just pipped by 10.
Okay, but that's good.
Yeah, we're on the front row.
On the front row.
We're on the front row. That you couldn't have delivered better. For a man who never even sat in it before.
You're in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
There was really no grip. There's somebody who has gone around with oil everywhere. And into turn 1, I could do 2 things. I could cross immediately and then hope I would have a lot less speed when I catch it again. Or I go around the outside. If you take the start.
I'm going to take the start. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do the same job as Joe did last year. Stay up towards the front as far as I can. Look after the brakes. So here we have our race car, very early 1962 Jaguar E-Type. This is one of the first left-hand drive cars that was delivered to North America. The car is in a colour scheme reflective of the colours of the Cunningham team. Briggs Cunningham and his team ran Jaguar D-types. When the Jaguar factory retired from racing, they became their sort of American #1 customer team. The colours are the American racing colours, which is the white with the blue stripes, and colours that Cunningham raced with great success through the 50s and 60s. The first cars were born with all steel monocoques, and this car is an early car, so it has a steel monocoque. But the cars were very quickly developed for racing. But as a pre-1963 car, we run this car to the very, very original specification. So narrow angle cylinder head, 3 SU carburetors, steel block, cast iron manifold. So in many respects, we're racing what was very much a Jaguar production car. This car, though it's on the track and racing, it's got the benefit of a slightly lighter bonnet and some lighter panels. But apart from that, the car is, as the Americans would say, stock. It's a production car. One of the things that was happening in the early 1960s was some sort of basic understanding of aerodynamics and lift. And one of the things that was discovered by a man called Dan Gurney was that if you put a little lip on the boot lid there, you generate a little bit of downforce. It was also beginning to be understood that air goes into a car, it's got to come out somewhere, and there was a lot of heat and air being trapped in the rear of the car, and Jaguar and Briggs Cunningham were one of the first to try just propping the boot lid open just to help get that heat, get that air out the back of the car. So here we are inside the Jaguar E-Type. Again, not at all different to a production car. Standard instruments, an up-spec chronometric rev counter, which is a little bit more accurate than Jaguar's production thing. But 160 mile/hour speedo, same as a production car. All standard dash instruments, except the brushed aluminium finish, which causes some reflection, is painted out matte black. Four-speed standard gearbox, what they call the Moss gearbox. Simple car, great visibility, beautiful bonnet, that lovely classic Jaguar bulge there. Still a very early car with wire wheels, with very small Dunlop brake calipers on the front. But when this car arrived in 1961-62, the world was stunned. I think Mr. Ferrari himself said that the Jaguar E-Type was the most beautiful car he'd ever seen. And it was not only beautiful, it was very successful. And here we are, racing it here at the Kinrara. pressure. One wet, drop, soggy balaclava. And my job is to give it to him in one piece in about 20 minutes time and let him do the rest.
It's a 1 hour race, and obviously the weather, I mean, it has been heavily raining. Gregor will start the car, and we have to change driver after 20 minutes, but before 40 minutes. Hopefully you will be out before the big rain comes and I can gel myself into it. Other than that, go and enjoy and come whenever you need me and you come in. Enjoy, sir. Good to share with you. Pleasure to share with you.
Rob Huff on pole position, alongside him Gregor Fisken, alongside him on the outside of row 1 is Nigel Greensill, the flag pulled, and a great start is made by Rob Huff, who slithers away and leaves everybody else standing on the run down towards the first corner as they head towards Madrid for the first time.
There's a tremendous advantage on this circuit if you're in the lead. Look at the spray coming up from those cars, headlights ablaze.
Well, my stint started, it couldn't have been worse. I got a lot of wheel spin off the line, and as I pulled the lever back, found fourth gear instead of second gear. So the car bogged down in fourth gear. I got swamped, I think about 6 or 7 cars passed me by turn 1. And it took me a lap just to get myself back into the good rhythm. Over the stint, the car felt very, very good. I was able to drop my shoulders, relax, get back into it, really start to enjoy my driving.
And that great start that Rob Huff made, and he pulled a gap, remember, heading for the first time into Madrid. The gap has virtually gone because going after him as they come across the timing line is Nigel Greensill.
Gregor is doing a good job. He's in 6th position. The 2 leaders 1 and 2 are dicing good racing out front, and unfortunately that's 27 seconds ahead of us.
Fascination of all of this, of course, is the pace of the co-driver, because it could well be that other cars come on strong late in the race, others drop down, depending on the speed of the second man behind the wheel.
Still not raining, but it's very dark just behind us, and we expect some rain coming, and in 4 minutes the pit lane will be open.
More and more heading to the pits, as you can see.
I think I've given Tom a hell of a big job to do to get us back up on the podium, but who knows, if the race goes the full distance, we've got a chance of making up a few places, and it was so much fun. It was wetter than a well-battered eel, but it was lots of fun.
We have just under 15 minutes of the Kinrara Trophy to go. Rob Huff leads the race, but has got to make his mandatory pit stop to give the car over to the owner, Richard Mines, and the best placed of those that has already made its mandatory stop runs 4th on the road. Phil Keane has taken over from John Minshaw. There is Tom Kristensen trying to dive up the inside of Adrian Wilmot, but he can't do it and arrives right on the tail of the Aston Martin now, coming through Madgwick.
And the battle, therefore, between Keane and Kristensen, and the gap 16 seconds. So Tom Kristensen has a much bigger mountain to climb. We've got less than 10 minutes to run of this race.
What I do now is I watch the screen, I look at the live timing, and I pray.
Kristensen He's falling away from Phil Keane. The lead gap is up to 12 seconds now. Kristensen hard at work, and just savour the spectacle of one of the legendary drivers that's come through sports car racing in the last decade or two, and now driving a car that's very, very different, with no downforce, with limited traction, and yet he is mastering it. So too is Phil Keane, one of a number of drivers here who's able to leap from a modern GT car to a historic GT car and go very successfully in both.
But basically the race now comes down to a straightforward battle between Keane and Kristensen.
They're going to flag it soon, apparently. Just keep your eyes peeled.
And the checkered flag is out early. Checkered flag comes out with 5 minutes to go, and the flag is there. So the race brought to an early halt with 5 minutes still to run. It confirms a win for Phil Keane and John Minshaw. Gregor Fisken and Tom Kristensen will be second, and Ollie Bryant and Martin O'Connell will take third.
Kristensen just pulled a big rabbit out the back.
I mean, we expected rain, but our strategy in a way worked.
We pitted early.
We pitted early. I got out, and the conditions were basically like they were in the beginning. They were towards the end, except it was very dark in the end. But of course, the safety car gave us some help.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
but then it stayed out too long.
Yeah, I mean, not too long. They had to fix the problems, but too long for our strategy. And then I was way down in the queue, so I had to pass a lot of cars which were not in their position, and that took some time.
Goodwood, it's good to be on the podium, but it's good. It's celebrating the history and heritage of these cars. And thank you very much for letting me drive different cars from before we were born. That's something which is unique, and when we do well, it's really a great pleasure. But with the helmet on, we certainly try to go as fast as we sort of can. But with this preparation, I think a few laps this morning and then a wet race again. We are very happy to finish second in this strong grid of very expensive cars.